Hello everybody, my name is Mattie, and today we're going to be deconstructing Snow by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. This song is outstanding. It was one of my personal favorites when I was going through my teenage angst stage. Oh, the good old days. Before jumping into this song, let's get a background idea of this track. Snow, or Heyo, was released off their 2006 double album, Stadium Arcadium. A great album, by the way. The song was released as the follow-up single to Tell Me Baby on November 20th, 2006, and became the band's third straight #1 hit on the Billboard Modern Rock chart. A spot it held for 5 straight weeks. The only thing I've ever done for 5 weeks straight is procrastinate. I had a plant that died like a year ago, and I still haven't thrown it away. And at this point, it has its own ecosystem that has grown and evolved with it. I should throw it away, but there's just so many better things to do, you know? All 4 members of this band hold songwriting credits: Flea, Frusciante, Kiedis, and Smith. And this song was produced by the legendary music producer Rick Rubin. To give you some background on how legendary of a producer Rick is, I'm gonna quickly go over just some of the albums he's produced in the last 10 years. Adele, 21. Ed Sheeran, X. 2 different Linkin Park albums, and 2 different Kanye albums. That is quite a track record, Rick. But if you're looking to switch it up a little bit, Rick, I've got some comedy song bangers that you might be interested in hearing. Hit me up. The playlist is in the description below if you're interested in hearing those songs as well. Vocalist Anthony Kiedis states that the track is about surviving, starting fresh. I've made a mess of everything, but I have a blank slate, a canvas of snow, and I get to start over. Let's get started on this blank slate of a song by hopping into the first part, the drums. The drums in this song are divided into 3 parts, labeled drums 1, drums 2, and drums 3. Part 1 contains the kick, part 2 contains the snare, and part 3 contains the overheads, so the cymbals and the hi-hat. The parts are divided based on where the mics were placed in the recording. Let's take a listen to what they all sound like together. Okay, let's just take a look at the kick part, or drum part 1. Even though we're on the kick drum microphone, you can still hear the snare pop its head in and out every once in a while. That's called mic bleed, or when one instrument's sound bleeds into the recording of another instrument's microphone. It's like a drum war zone up in here. Mic's bleeding on everyone else's recordings. Gory. The part that Chad Smith, the drummer of Red Hot Chili Peppers, is playing for this song is fairly simple. He's playing the kick on the 1 and 3, and then filling in the snare on the 2 and 4 as the main backbeat. I'll play it with all the parts together so you can hear what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He's also adding a lot of extra hits in between the snare drum 2 and 4 hits to add some extra flair. These extra flares are like ornaments on a Christmas tree. They're not completely necessary, but they give the tree some personality. And a Christmas tree without ornaments is just a sad tree. These hits in between the main backbeat hits are called ghost notes. Not because they're scary cool, but because they're barely perceivable. I'll play the snare drum part again to illustrate my point. That is the groove for the verse, but it becomes more complex as the song builds into the chorus. Let's take a listen to the chorus. So there he's going into a double time feel. Instead of playing on 1, 2, 3, 4, he's going like 1, 2, 3, 4, boop, 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 boop. He's doubling the amount of times he's playing the snare drum and the kick drum. He's also hammering down on those cymbals to give it some high energy. He's really going all out. All of this high energy drumming really fits the vibe of this rock song. These heavy-handed cymbals and double time feel goes along with rock music, a lot like hot air balloons go along with creepy old guys that run them. So after the chorus, it goes back to normal for a little while until we hit the end chorus. I'll show you what that looks like. Using this double time feel from here to the end of the song. A lot of energy in your drums like this means a lot of energy in the song. It also requires a lot of energy from the drummer. Chad Smith better put a kiddie pool underneath him from the amount of sweat just dripping off his body, or else he's gonna have some serious mold problems on the floor. Okay, that'll do it for the drums. Let's move on to the rest of the song and take a look at the bass. Here we have the bass. Let's listen to the very first part of the bass by itself. It's a really nice, simple part that outlines the rest of the chords while keeping it interesting with a sort of walking pattern. It's also slightly syncopated. That means it's not playing on the same downbeats as the drums. Take a listen with the drums. So this part is being played by the one and only Flea, which, no offense to Flea, kind of makes sense when you actually look at him. I read somewhere a few years ago that after all the success that the Red Hot Chili Peppers had, Flea, the bassist, was actually going back to music school to figure out what he was doing on the bass and why it sounded good from a music theory's perspective. So do you need to know music theory to make good sounding music like this? No way, Sharpay. Though I will say it's helpful. So that part continues like that through the first verse, and then we get a little bit of variation when it comes to the chorus. Take a listen. Bass walking steady, Flea's palms are sweaty, Mom's spaghetti. And if you're liking this video and Mom's spaghetti, then leave a like below. That would really help me out. And maybe I'll even cook you a spaghetti meal. Probably not though. So those two parts like that continue on for a little while, but there's one more variation that Flea plays in the bass, and that comes during the breakdown. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to call this part, but take a listen. So here Flea is playing some pseudo chords that fit along with the rest of the track. He's also strumming the bass like a guitar. When he does this, he's playing higher up on the neck and higher down on the strings. That means that there's not as much low end information or low frequencies as before, but it works well for the sound. When you only have 4 people playing in a band like this, you gotta stretch out what you got. It's like when you're taking a dump at work. You gotta milk that time for everything it's worth. Okay, that will do it for the bass part. Let's move on to the next track, labeled Song. This part is a mush pot of a lot of different instruments. It's serving as the kitchen junk drawer for this song. A musical part catch-all, if you will. The first part that comes in is guitarist John Frusciante singing some background vocals.
Hey, oh, listen what I say, oh.
These background vocals are double-tracked and panned hard left and hard right. That's some musical jargon for the same part recorded twice, and one put in the left speaker and one put in the right speaker. Then we get some throwback 60s bell-bottom jean type action when the mellotron gets added, and take a listen. I can see the circle glasses Mushroom Man playing that thing now. The mellotron was actually one of the first sampling instruments around. Now, thanks to the tassel jacket-lined shoulders of the mellotron, sampling instruments are a staple in the lockers of modern music producers everywhere. Even though many a hippie sound engineer clicked the keys of a mellotron, even today they are still in use. This thing has more staying power than Betty White. Moving on to the breakdown. Still not sure what to call it. We see a different change of pace from this Neapolitan ice cream track. I wonder what could pop up next. Did you guess a piano bass part and an extra percussion section? I know I sure did, but actually this part makes a lot of sense. The bass piano part fills in some of the gaps that are left when Flea is playing higher on his bass, while the percussion gives some more rhythmic variety and energy to the breakdown. Should I call it the breakdown? It's too late. It's too late. Then at the very end, we have the final cherry on top of our 8-flavor pie. We get guitars. Take a listen. I personally think we need some more cowbell, but guitars will just have to suffice. I'm sure that Rick Rubin, the producer, at this point was thinking, you know what, it's the last chorus, we're at the very end of the song, let's just throw the whole kitchen sink at it, the entire thing. And sure enough, he did. He threw it. But I think his investment paid off. The ending is impactful and well done. Okay, let's move on to my favorite part of this song, the guitar. Let's take a listen. First of all, dope. Second of all, notice it's panned hard right. It's only coming out of the right side. And it stays like that for almost the entire song. That's a very interesting choice for a guitar part like this. But it doesn't really take away anything from the song. I've heard this song more times than your grandma has lost her glasses, and I haven't noticed that until right now. So John Frusciante, the guitarist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, is just on another level of good. I'm out here still stuck on the first level castle, and John Frusciante has already beaten the game blindfolded. Let me break down this part on my actual guitar, and I'll show you the chords and the actual melody that he plays. chords he's playing are A flat minor, E major, B major to F sharp minor. They're not really breaking any ground with those chords. That's honestly a variation on one of the most common chord progressions in music. What is groundbreaking might be the guitar part though. Let me show you that. So enough fanboying over John. Let's take a peep at the end of the song. So finally we get some left speaker love in here, thank the Lord. And then immediately after this sort of breakdown, hard distorted guitars strumming chugga chugga sound, finally at the very end we get John sliding into some chords, having a final epic ending for this wonderful song. Awesome. Okay, that'll do it for the guitars. Let's take a look at the final part, the vocals. Take a listen to the verse vocals.
Come to decide that the things that I tried were in my life just to get high on. When I sit alone, come get a little known, but I need more than myself this time. Step from the road to the sea.
The first thing that stands out to me about these vocals is that they're really dry. That means that there's not a lot of reverb on the vocal. Let me show you what the vocal would sound like if there were a lot of reverb on it.
When I lay it on, come get to play it on all my life to sacrifice. Hey, yo.
It's a very different feel. I'll play it with the rest of the mix.
Get high on. When I sit alone, come get a little known, but I need more than myself this time. Step from the road
really
to the
overdo
sea
it,
to the sky, and I do believe it on. When I lay it on, come get to play it on all my life to sacrifice. Hey, yo.
Generally, the more reverb that a vocal has, the farther away the voice is perceived. In real life, if someone far away from you is trying to talk to you, there's gonna be more reverb in their voice. If someone is whispering in your ear and telling you that you can't play Guitar Hero full blast because you're in a public library, then there's less reverb on that. The drier the vocal, the more in your face it feels. It's a good strategy to keep the lead dry so that it stands out in the mix and it seems like the closest element. But with a lot of things in music, it totally depends on the genre and the style and the vibe you're going for. Let's move on to like the after chorus breakdown.
Deep beneath the cover of another perfect wonder where it's so white as snow. Privately divided by a world so undecided and there's no...
But this vocal part is not a challenging vocal part to sing. The lead singer, Anthony Kiedis, is singing very comfortably in his range. If a hard vocal song would be a sprint, then this is more like a walk in the park, which is essential if you're gonna have a really long set list and gonna be singing a lot of songs throughout the night. So this song and most of Red Hot Chili Peppers' songs were written in a kind of unique way. Anthony Kiedis kept journals and journals of poetry. And when a band member would come up to him with a melodic idea, he would stitch different parts together from the poetry that he had written. This quilting of the song was the basis for a lot of the songs he wrote. Then, if he needed to, he would weave the rest of the story together with new lyrics that he wrote. I mean, what an interesting way to write songs. I've tried using his style after hearing about it and put poetry to chords, but when I've tried it, it's gone together about as well as peanut butter and onions. So the vocal doesn't really do anything crazy for the rest of the song, but I will play it with the background vocals so you can get an idea of what those sound like together.
Listen what I say, oh. Come back and hey, oh. Look at what I say, oh.
Sweet, there it is, well done. Okay, that will do it for my song analysis and deconstruction of Snow by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. If you've enjoyed this video so far, if you're enjoying this series, hit the like button for me. And while you're at it, go tell your pet fish that you love him. That's equally important. Until next time, peace out.